takulandirani program ya lero ya Cruise 5 kuchokera kuno ku Blantyre kuchigumula tikucheza ndi Pemphero Mphande. Ndakulandira program ya Cruise 5
zikoma kwambiri.
Chimpheretu icho cha green ndi chachani?
Zimene basi zokonda
mphete ziwiri
zongokonda munthu basi.
Mphete ziwiri koma ina sindikuionapo. Iyi ndiye chani? Iyi ndiye chani?
Kale imene
ya golide
chonchi.
Ili ndi 1000 alilonse.
Ini zimene zimangosangalatsa basi.
Zamanyado chabe?
Zamanyado basi. Ena Maria zimene za sataniki zongovala zimene basi munthu ona kuti basi.
Za uhule koma. Zadama. Zadama munthu wamphongo mphete choncho zadama tu zimenezi.
Bwanji.
Ndizatanthauzo lanji zimenezo.
Zimene zingati anthu ena basi amavala watch, ena amavala macheni nkhosi basi. Zongosangalatsa basi munthu.
Iyo koma za macheni ayi.
Za macheni ayi.
Munthu ulibe chicheni pena pake.
Sinakaiko ndi chicheni.
Koma zimaringi.
Ine ndimakonda maringi ndi watch basi.
Pali maringi ena amene akubwera kapena akwanira amene wawo.
Mwina tikachita ukwati mtsogolo.
Tikucheza ndi Pemphero Mphande amene anthu ambiri amamudziwa chifukwa cha zimene amachita makamaka pa masamba anchezo pa social media. Komano monga amene timvere program imeneyi yeye amachita ndithu zinaso zambiri kuposa mwina zimene anthu ambiri timaziona kudzera pa masamba anchezo amenewa. Ndikulandirenso kachiwiri program imeneyi. Tithokoze kuti mwatera ndiya kuti tikhoza zachezera kwanu kuno.
Zikoma kwambiri.
Kumudzi ndikuti?
Ine mudzi kwathu ndi ku Nzimba.
Oho.
Nzimba kuyamba ngweni.
Kuti ku Nzimba kuli Mphande?
Aliko ndithu.
Mphande?
Ena maona ngati the Mphandes only from Nkhalamba koma ya ndithu ku Nzimba tiliko ndithu ambiri.
Oho.
Ndithudi.
Kubadwa ndi kukulira?
Ine kubadwa ndabadwira kuno ku Blantyre.
Okay.
Ndakhala kumpoto bwino but most of my life ndakhala kuno ku Blantyre.
So koma chirumbu kama yankhula unakhalako ndithu umene kuja kuti munthu wati sungasokere kupita kumudziya.
Ine makudziwa.
Anyamata amene tumango khandi dzina basi. Ine ndine nkandawire kumudzisana pita. Ine ndine kumwenda. Koma amangulekeza panzuzu basi koma kumudziwa usangalo zolo chirumbu kasala nkhula
ya. Ine mankhula.
Chirumbu
chomveka bwino kwambiri. Chomveka bwino kwambiri. I try my best kuti I should learn as much language as I can. So
tatuza kuyambira kuti mmene unabadwa ndi mmene wakulira kufika mmene uli pamoyo wako wakhala otani, wakhala kuti ndi kuti.
Okay, monga ndane nabadwira kuno ku Blantyre, ku Mlambe Hospital. Mchaka chimene cha 1992.
Okay.
Meaning with this year I'm turning 32.
Okay.
My mom was a secondary school teacher. Maphunzisa.
Okay.
Because I kuno maphunzisa primary. Then after some time anaza pita ku school, then akanisiya ndi agogo. Nakagona gogo anga kumpoto. And then later on ndakhakoso kumpoto kumeko kuzuzu. So my life has been up and down.
Okay.
Kuyenda for phunzisa kwa mayangako. And then since 2010 up to now I've just been blunt. And ndabwera ku school ku College of Medicine. But my life has been blunt ever since.
Ndikuona ungochula amayi ako abambo ako sukuwachula.
Abambanga ndi now. Ngoti I've not spent much time with my father. Bambanga amakhala ku US. Is a professor.
Okay.
At Ohio State University. So his life has been much kumene koko.
So unaenda kuti College of Medicine anakuida?
Yeah. Inangandi wide.
Sanga kuide?
Yeah. Zina zelu ngati inangandi wide.
Ama kuida zelu maka kuti nthawi imene wewe mwina unachulukitsa zibwana or something.
Yeah.
Tanduza maphunziro ako kuti zinaenda bwanji.
Ine ku College of Medicine napanga medical laboratory sciences. I was selected ku secondary school. I was selected to College of Medicine in 2010, number 6 December. Najoka kuja ku 2016. Napanga graduate in 2017 in the Great Hall, Chancellor College. I'm a qualified medical laboratory scientist, but I don't practice.
Medical laboratory scientist?
Yes.
Amavanga chani?
Mene ndamukapita kuchipatala kuja. Mukakumana ndi dokotala. Kenaka makuza nikuti ayi.
Mupite ku lab?
Mupite ku lab.
Oh, yes.
Ndanyamata akili mapanga meza kunena
kuti full blood count.
Ndifeyo.
Unika mmagazi uli muli chani
mene every test.
Nkukuuza kuti mmene mukuona kuti chakuti chikuchepa, chakuti chili chonche.
Ndifeyo.
In
every test that you can think of I can do it. Of course with time. Any test I can do it.
Munde bwanji sikupanga zimene zozo.
Sindipanga zimene fanyo naona kuti nitachoka ku school. 2016 I briefly worked with my blood transfusion services, but namba kuona kuti by and by chipatala sikunali kwa ineyo. I had a different vision. I had a passion for working with the communities. For time when I went to school, I was the president of College of Medicine AIDS Counseling and Training Society. Working hand in hand, Chis was the patron, Professor John Chis at the time. So the men in different communities, kind of HIV and AIDS, so I had a passion for that.
Okay.
I didn't want to be confined into a space where basi or
wearing a lab coat.
So that's why I left. So I founded my own organization called Forum for AIDS Counseling and Training, FACT Malawi, in 2016, 2017. So that's what I've been doing up until now.
My dear, new organization?
Forum for AIDS Counseling and Training in acronym FACT Malawi.
FACT Malawi.
Literally.
I've heard about FACT. Pariso FACT winner, so it?
Pariso FACT winner. So I want FACT away.
Oh,
okay. All of us need to define jaws.
Okay.
Literally. Yeah.
Muntu kupanga spend zaka zonsezo kumaphunzira ku College of Medicine imene amavutira mucha kumaliza kukupatsa degree iwe nkuitenga nkuikapo kumakapanga zimene umapangazi.
I mean,
anachita kukakamiza kapena ukachite maphunziro amenewo. What happened?
I always wanted to go to College of Medicine.
Yeah.
Back then, to school. Like me, I was always #1 in school. We always think sort of, I never College of Medicine. It was the best institution back then. I don't know if it still is now.
Yeah.
What I realized that education is only meant to open your mind.
Okay.
It's not meant to set a path for your career, for your life.
School
you could say muscle, you could be exposed to a world of possibilities. I think the best way to live and to survive is to follow your passions, your dreams. If those dreams and passions can bring income, I would say certain business also.
Modu unagwira ko ndithu ntchito mulabu ndithu kumagwira kuti aya tapita numene kulabu ukapeza kuli iwe.
Napangako.
Nthawi yayitali bwanji?
Briefly, just a few months.
Okay.
A few months.
Kenako then you said this is not for me.
It's not for me.
Ndikapange zina.
Ndikaone zina.
Ndio ka organization unapanga set up udakagwira uli ku school kapena at what stage in your life?
It was a process.
Okay.
I think you got the idea in school. I can't put my hands on how I can do on the time but it was a process. But Napanga registered 2017.
Okay.
And in Napanga graduates in January of 2017. February 2017 it was registered. Meaning number 2016.
Yeah.
Documentation and stuff like that.
So Panopo Ndiwodi, it's a fully functional organization?
It's a fully functional organization. It's got employees. I mean, I'm a branch document some funders, some projects. So most they were into sexual and reproductive health.
Okay.
Focusing on HIV prevention, some STIs. Teen pregnancies, child marriages, it's all our space, but we target Nyamata. Timapangaso HIV testing, but we are expanding into also treatment for HIV, ART, and other things. Aye. Aye, there's no going back. If I'm to continue with education, I'm thinking maybe I would go into psychology or something different, but no, I'm not going back to the lab.
Pemphero Mphande, mlendo wathu program lero ya Cruise 5 kutongosolera zambiri za moyo wake kachidutswa chabe chifukwa kuliso zambiri zimene ufuna kuti tifukule koma tipumire kai umamvera nyimbo unakwatana ndi Ketura oyimba anoti kupanga promote luso chakuseza zoyimba zinga umazikonda ndithu.
Eventually I'm looking kuti ulinde a platform where you can promote arts.
Yeah.
But you have to do it because arts needs promotion. So you find yourself. I don't look at myself and think of me as an entertainer. But I just find myself in there because of what I do on Facebook.
Nyimbo yambe ngakhale nyimbo yanji?
The Black Missionaries Ndamusowa.
Black Missionaries Band. Ndamusowa ine. Okondedwa wangayo. Ndimamukonda. Amandikonda so indekhala nyimbo yamba imene program ya Cruise 5 kukonda kwa Pemphero Mphande mlendo wathu lero. Kuti anthu adziwe kuti kunja kuno kuli munthu dzina lake Pemphero Mphande makamaka amalawi ambiri ndi nthawi imene mwina unadza tenga chiletso choti ayike chifanizo cha Mahatma Gandhi statue. Ankanena kuti akufuna ayike statue ya Mahatma Gandhi ku Blantyre ndiye anthu amayankhula zambiri nthawi imeneyo. Aya imene ndi ganizo labwino ena amati limene si ganizo labwino. iona anena kuti limene sina ganizo labwino chinachitika ndi chani kwenikweni?
So nthawi imene jai I think that was around 2018 mene tinamva kuti aboma akufuna kunoko kubwere statue ya Mahatma Gandhi pa Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital. Ndine mukuona kwanga naona kuti kodi choyamba why are we erecting a statue ya Mahatma Gandhi kuno Malawi? Chifukwa anthu tikameka funny statue, that is something of sentimental value. Not anthu under the meaning they feel a connection with muntu ife anatipanga tikumudziwa is a part of us timpanga celebrate. Mahatma Gandhi was not that person. Kuna Malawi siyana utabaka nzo siyana over the years utikanta kwaika pena macha makwabanga celebrate. That was the first reason we pena kuti ai sidugwiza nazo. Chachiwiri Mahatma Gandhi was a person that in his lifetime had said some racist things against black people. Magamba nthawi mwana ku South Africa, I think around 1894 thereabouts. Alwachinyamata, like calling my black people Makafi. Makafi is like a Negro, but it's a slur we don't use antakuda. So we said, good you why are we celebrating him? Because just because Antonio Mbira Majai, he was non-violent, and I remember during that time there was a back and forth task with the government. I think Nicholas Taus then was the Minister of Information. Non-violence, and we said, no, but here the facts. Chinateka factor kupijana ku court, and I think the judge that time was Atembo. Now I think the eventually anapanga agree with anyamata wakunazoona. They were able to stop that, and eventually case manager na iwina mpaka na that statue sana chike kuno Malawi. Yetu.
2 or 3 things. One, muratha uzoti ndeti basi kumaya kuno tizingoweka za Malawi okhaokha silengeke koza munthu wina ake wakunja yayi zifani zimenezi.
Yayi sikuthandauza choncho. Tukuthandauza una kuti ngatengeke chinthu cha munthu wina ake kuno kakhaye munthu amene ife tikufira. We are feeling in our hearts that munthu amene tikumuyikayo. There's a part of us that connects with that person. Kumasana anapanga china chake. Singangoti lero ndilo basi statue ya Barack Obama azayike ndi why are we putting it there?
Komano ngati if there was a suggestion kuti ayikepo ndoti amene anaganiza kuti ayikepo analinga ataona kuti munthu uyu ndi munthu oti zimene anachita mu mbiri yake kumene analiliko zinapindulira gulu la anthu ambiri ndipo ifeyo we share ma values amenewo ngati anthu.
So in time ife tinkapanga arguments athu anaenda ufulu na anene zifuka zimene kuti ife tikuona ngati tikumika facha zako maana kanika kupanga zimene zozo. Ife our arguments eventually stood out na kuti munthu tikuona ngati pazomwe anapanga sizinapanga impact Malawi nenewe number 1. Komanso number 2 munthu anali racist munthu odana ndi anthu akuda. So ndikuti anthu ena kuti akudziwa zimene zakamaona azita munthu ankatinyoza uja amuyika apa. Ayi anthu ajankumanya sidwa ndi alawo lomwe.
Mahatma Gandhi pazonse zimene anachita inu kungotengapo kuti anali racist fora manena anthu kuti makafe anachita zinthu zambiri zoti anthu ube akhoza andingakhale kuti zitengera measure imeneyo ndesitika tu chifanifani cha munthu wina aliyensetu chifukwa zipezeka kuti aya John Chilembwe amene anapanga zakuti musayike aya Mandela ameneyo anapanga zakuti ndetu sitika china chilichonsetu.
Munthu samakhala perfect ngamene mwaneneramo koma kumakhala some things that are outstanding. Mwachisanzo munthu inuyo Joabu Pemphero Mphande mwana Joabu lwa kuvutika kana kono basi akumangireni nyumba Joabu amangira nyumba Joabu imene anthu aombera manja Joabu amavutika Pemphero amangira nyumba kana Pemphero mwe ujabwere ngozapha mwana wanu basi ina kuya pha mwana wanuja kana kumuzira munthu fora nthana anani mangira nyumba nimpanga celebrate. The thing is some evil things outweigh some good things, so you have to look for the right balance. Issue of Mahatma Gandhi, it goes just beyond the issue of a statue. This is about around that time, India is one of our biggest creditors. India is doing that for all of Africa, it's crediting Africa in very unfair deals. For us as Africans, tikamamba organiza, we must start thinking about when we're doing these deals, what do we benefit from those deals? Because in Mangona statue, that means a lot more. It is a sign of their control of our economies, of our culture. So over time, around everything else is Indian owned. Can malo, can my businesses, can my buildings. So it's a process that starts slowly. The key message is, as Africans, we must start reclaiming our own values, our own identities, politically, economically, so that it starts in the brain. It's about identity. Once you start thinking good and how good, our own heroes in our own land, our economy will start making sense in ways that make sense to us, not just good and so it's bigger than that.
Because kusogera kuti tiziganiza kwambiri along those lines. Chifanifani cha John Chilembwe ku Trafalgar Square ku London ku UK. Ndete nene kuti basi umene kuti Malawi yakapanga impose authority yake umene kuchako basi anthu basi ndeti kunena kuti ifeyo anthu ambe kuganiza meti maganizira ife ngara Malawi. It's a way of celebrating zimene anthu ena anachita kwawoko. And as a global community which you acknowledge kuti ngati dziko ndife global community. Palibe choletsa kunena kuti uyu ngakhale sana achitire ife koma kwawo kanachita izi. I think this is a good virtue imene anthu athu akhoza kuphunzirapo.
So ndine mukamanena kuti ku Trafalgar Square kuli statue ya John Chilembwe. Ino mala mnanyamuka mukayika statue imene kujako. Komanso inu mmatenga ndalama kuna tati kubwereka ngongole nako aku UK. Urikubwa uno kuti kupanga aid inake kuno ku UK. Those are very different things because when you think about it, the government of Malawi did not spend a single dime to put a statue there. In opposite, kunoko that statue was being paid for by the government of India. Komanso yo kumalibwereka ndalama, and there are some dues. Even that around that time, Mafuna Mange, they wanted to Mafuna Mange Convention Square. It comes in dues that have got conditions. Africans are not going to Europe and saying, okay, we're going to go farm to statue atu for you to kupanga nchaku chako. We're not doing that. In any case, it's charity. Amangura kulina kamara Chilembe kumalawi tingula anthu ati asanga sitapange celebrate. It's a world of difference. The point being that you have to understand we live in a world where in the global economy there are some countries that are very powerful. Countries like America, countries like the UK. Maiko anatipanga colonize, anatipanga enslave. And many up until now, they're still waging an economic and political war. They're making sure kuno Africa, even some values. Chikabandobanga adopt amatimana aid. I had this issue when Bing was in power, issues of homosexuality. Up until now, it's a Tangona Uganda, the issues. There are those issues. They tell you, look, if you don't allow homosexuality in your country, we're going to hold back aid. That was very common. And how Barack Obama. Bing suffered at the time. If you remember, Malawi was treated as the second fastest growing economy in the world. But because of those issues, eventually, Malawi economy has collapsed, impakana kuswako forex, impakana few issues. So the point I'm trying to make is, we need to be careful as Africans in the deals that we make with these people, because as that's true, they come with conditions of saying, tupanga on these conditions. We as Africans don't have that power to go and say, we can't even chase them because even our budget relies on them. So that's the world of difference that we speak of. And at the time, even up until now, I still think and believe that as Africans, our generation of young people, we must wake up and realize that Africa belongs to Africans. We can partner with Antenna, only as equal partners. Not if then Africa will remain here.
Ndemunalepheretsa statue ya Mahatma Gandhi ndemunaikapocha. What was your recommendation?
We didn't make any recommendation. A statue was... No, we could have done that, but at the time, that was not a priority. I don't think, even now, for Malawi, Mangama statue is a priority. There are many priorities that we can focus on as a country.
Anthu amakudziwa ngati munthu amene kupatula nkhani ya Mahatma Gandhi imene anthu anakudziwa kwambiri. Wakhalanso kuchita zinthu zina zothandiza anthu kudzera pa masamba ako anchezo, ayi uya kudwala kansa, tateni tisonkherane ndalama timutumize ku chipatala. Ayi mwana uyu fizi kuvuta ku skulu, tatiyeni timuthandize, anthu kusonkherana kudzera kwa iweyo kumapititsa ana aja ku skulu. Chifukwa chani machita zimenezi? Mulipindulaje?
Charity work for me began around 2016. I'll share a brief story with you. So there was a time, near school, I was driving maybe shop right. So now in Gamoriang and I'm robot for technique paja, and then there's a young boy that is holding Kono Mayage. I think it's a blind woman, and they'll go dog bempa. Now, I'd seen this several times in my life. And you go there and talk about Pamazona, but you could tell this woman is blind. For the first time in my life, I was just touched by the whole thing because the way I'm now I'm Gamoria Bungo and Sent Bungo Venero, Imigachi, which in Jao, the Macans made was out of cool, you try my Majaba, the kid went to Kabakanok and Angobanga, then they came to my car. So now I was in Rondo Lane. So they followed me and then Tinaka came up a stage here, opposite the filling station. So then I said, I asked them, continue because I've seen you here a couple of times before. In my head, I was thinking, I would give these people 1,000 kwacha. If If I give them 1,000 kwacha, what difference does it make? They will come back the next day. But I can do something for them, maybe a small scale business. And likely I had some money at the time. So now I didn't get one for my car. So we drove. I stopped because Mango had so many capital shop, right? I went there, and then what I saw was that the entire neighborhood was impoverished. Poor people that even if you supported this person, eventually my neighbors will cripple them. It's what happens. Joseph Bandawe, my professor used to say that if you are a rich person and everyone else around you is poor, you're also a poor person. But the only way that they are going to survive is if around them and hondochita bill. So ngata kugulisa makala, kagulisa kandi mandasi, the neighbor should have some money to buy from them, otherwise agula so aweza kungoja zinto zija. So it made me think, I think there's more that I could do. At the time I thought maybe I could go into politics. That inspired me to go into politics. I would make a difference. But I met this person. Some more were interested. We can also go. So I would go there with another friend. They support another person. So I saw the more that I would share these stories with people, the more there were more people who are willing to help.
Okay.
Over time, I realized that there's been a culture of thinking and believing that donors are only white people and how good are they supposed to receive. But black people, if there are 1 million black people, have got 1,000 kwacha. It's a lot of money. So that's where the idea started of crowdfunding or fundraising. And I think I've seen the power of that. In Ibabeji Bank, I would 10,000 US$, 20,000 US$, and I'm raise within a few days because I'm not saying one person 10 million kwacha. One person will 500 kwacha, but in back, it becomes a lot of money. And that collective action is the power that black people have that we have not tapped into, even at a level of government or levels of society. And
2, 3, or 4 things, but I will highlight 2. Choyamba ndija kuti ena amaona ngati kuti zimene zizi anthu machita feri maona pokena kake kolowa. Anthu aja akasonkha umaona kuti apapa mafuna $10,000 koma pabwera $12,000. Ka 10,000 ndikaja ukapereka, ka 2,000 ndikaja kupochera pathumba.
Well, I'll tell you something very interesting. You look at the United Nations, Save the Children, World Vision. All these mabungu maona kunoku. Where do they get their money from? They get their money from donations. In America, they write a story of a poor child in Malawi, and there's a famous story of a photographer of South Africa, where there was
Yaji voucher iji.
Yeah, the voucher.
Kamwana amajambula voucher yufuna kujia
kamwana ntayanjala. That image became very famous because that poverty sells. So Amabanga raise millions. It's individuals in America and the UK giving $1, $10. In back it becomes millions of US$. That money, so we say akabanga raise $10 million US$, it goes into kwango pereka kuti abasi mkaba santena yake. There are issues of administration, where ndege zao and whatnot. So when individuals are like us, like what I do most of the time, I will put my account numbers on the money goes directly to them up and bank. They are relying on us to bank account. Do that. The point I'm trying to make is now as Pemphero Mphande, we're moving to having a foundation that is going to have bank accounts. We're going to employ people. And I've said it openly. This is also about creating jobs. Also over time, some of that money will go into paying people who are running these charity works. It's what World Vision does. But they pay salaries aren't. So why can't black people who are also doing the best I saw recently there's even some people that are doing these things on Facebook. And I wonder communicate like even my foundation. Unlike us, do they communicate good if is going into administration? Otherwise, you must clearly say, look, if you and as a go our budget is 10 million for this month. 8 million 2 million so it must be like that. It's not stealing, it is part of the work.
Chachiwiri anthu ena amaona ngati kuti kuthandiza anthu ngati amenewa mukwalimbikitsa anthu aja kuti kunyadirano umphawi wawo tsopano kuti ifeyo ndiye panopo basi atithandiza basi alipo anthu akuthandiza amabungwe akangondithandiza nde already nipoti munthu akanaikapo ka effort kake kuti atuluke mu vuto lichali nalo amangokhala kudikirira kuti aya tandilembani pa Facebook tandithandizani yenye chani. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, several truths can exist in one thing. What you're saying is not entirely wrong. That's why tikamapanga charity work, we must also think about ways that are sustainable. I'll give you an example of Tom Pinganjira, FDH. I mean, amanga chipatala cancer recently. I mean, the first time that I heard of Tom Pinganjira for me was in 2010. Chitabela school, it was about orientation College of Medicine. So he was a Bandawe. I think was friends with him. Amaka said College of Medicine and Pinganjira. So I'm invited to come and speak to us. We didn't even know what Dawa guy. I didn't bank in town, but he wasn't popular as a rich guy. Spoke to us, and then sort of that guy came, and then he left. We saw another bank. He bought, MSB. Then his bank was, but now he's a big name, he's a big brand, and now he has built, this hospital. Now, when I look at him, I see a story of how Black Africans should be thinking, because it is possible for Mpinganya so okay, find this on done. Kunja, I mean, through the foundation, Tom and Barbara Foundation, bank access Kunja cancer Kunja, by saying no, those people can actually come here. Instead of them paying $10,000 for treatment, Kunja, they can pay $3,000. So they're paying less money. So what I'm trying to say is that even at a level of government, that's how the thinking should be. Even for charities like us, we should be thinking of ways that become sustainable. Instead of continuously having to raise money, let's think of how we can put money in their pockets to become more sustainable. Hence, the story I was telling you of saying, Mundampas and drama, as impossible. But what if I can take them, they should become more sustainable. So the only way that the African economy grows, the Malawian economy grows, is if through these charities, the money that we raise, we can put them into ways that they create more money, not just and that's something that I've been very keen on in what I do. Apart from cases where we are sending out for Ishtandizo, the rest of them is either school fees or but we hardly want to just say we try to think of ways how they can become more sustainable. Okay. And that's how charities should be.
Chomaliza ndiyo robetsa ntchito imene ito chifukwa mavuto ndesa kuthai kuyambira kale mavuto akhalalipo adzakhalapo mpaka kale. So ndichitini choti chili ndi mabowo ambirimbiri uziti ukumata ichi aponso pali bowo ukamakamata apa pachaona mata cha pabowo kaso sumafika potopa munthu unena kuti koma I think izi ndachita kokwanira. I think this is it.
Charity work is tiresome, but I guess in the end, like for us, man can matter gets hard. But this court, I find it really fees, man. Can 20, can 30. So we'd plan for those. Like somebody else. Like whenever I used to get phone calls, my team gets phone calls. I'm going to fees. Man goes, no, we're done with school fees. Go and look for help elsewhere.
So you have to be firm.
Yeah, be firm.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. You can't help everybody else. Even with medical treatments, every quarter I can help one person every quarter. I get treatment.
We'll
send them back. We can only, if you do that, then you must plan. Look, 30 and follow often a treatment beyond.
I'm telling
you, a few years ago people didn't know but now I get phone calls all the time. All the time. I'm even used. I refer to team young, they'll come back. Yes, you have to be, of course, you have to be compassionate and kind. How you talk, make them understand. Look, we can help, but we can't help when alliance. And this is a common trend. Even the United Nations, they raise billions of dollars every year. They can't. Even Bowman and also under aid, do they help everybody else? Or the not everybody can be helped. In the end, we must always think about how to teach people to become sustainable by and by.
Nyimbo number 2.
I think he carried Namadingo. Namadingo Vinyo.
Vinyo, come I don't know in the video yake Vinyo.
Ngadimene palibe ndi Namadingo Botswana. Imene video yake ilipo.
Botswana. Anaimbalulira kunja komena lili Botswana.
Anaikopera kunja.
Patience Namadingo akuti amakonda nyimbo ya Vinyo. Osati amakonda Vinyo, although zikozotikhala so kuti mina amakonda Vinyo koma nyimbo ya Vinyo koma ngati sitipeza tichite Botswana. Program ya Cruise 5 kukonda kwa Pemphero Mphande. Program ya Cruise 5 tikucheza ndi Pemphero Mphande amene adangobwera kunena kuti ayayi oyimba uyu ndikufuna kuti ndizimpanga manage kena kuonaona kuti wama kupanga manage more than just her music. Anthu what are we looking at here? Munalipusitsa dziko kwambiri. We thought it was about music.
It was about me.
Iwe mundu mambala uyu mundu oyipa kwambiri.
Ukaona nyanja na
iwe unapirira vu. Otatizo unapirira nyanja. Unadziwa ukuku ndifuna ndikaone vu.
Koma
vu imapezeka kunyanja ndiye by any means ndifuna ndipite kunyanja. That was your plan all along.
No, it was not. I mean, I could have just gone to her and said, "Look, I like you, I want to date you." It was simple.
Yeah, koma nona mwika munthu uja pakona kuti amwena baba ndiro. I don't know how she would have said no. Scheming yako wena wena baba ndivide yachani I want to be your manager yachani. Unaruwa mpaka lema notes wose kuti step 1 chachani, step 2 chachani.
It just happened along the way.
Are you sure?
Okay, let me tell you how it all started. Keturah reached out to me about her music. You know,
she's the one who reached out to you.
Oh yeah, about music.
Yes.
I've seen what you're doing here with music. I want you to help me with promoting my music. So at the time, Nam was fine. Send me some of your songs because Nyimbo Zako were not on platforms, and I had not heard of an artist called Keturah before. So eventually, she sent me the songs, and I remember that day. I was with my workmates. Then I played her song. The first song I played was Lile from Keturah. I said, "My God, how come I've never listened to such kind of music before?" Amen. I was wild. I was mind blown because I love music that has got an African touch. Nowadays, the most music is just everyone is doing urban music, trying to get a Western touch. But she was African, authentic. Mpaka na ime nura who is in I played all the songs. Napanga play Nambewe, napanga play Mtengereko. I was mind blown. I wanted to meet this person. Yeah, so then the next day we met in Tinagumana Show Pride, and then we discussed. It was a chat about music. So at the time she was telling me, "Look, I did not make much money from music, and I'm trying to find a way of making music." So now I was like, "Look, you've got a big talent. For a big talent, you don't even need to be asking for help, financial help from anybody else. You just need to go out there and sell your music." So I gave her a challenge. I said, "Look, I'm going to make CDs of your music, and I'm going to sell 1 million watch in 1 day of your music." So now I have a Facebook. Naga was my fans would have met this artist. This is the music.
So this time now we got any fan base?
Yeah, I just started out. I had about 70,000 followers or so thereabout.
Okay.
Said if you can buy these CDs, I made a joke. They said, you look good together. I said, fine, and then I'll date her. I made a joke at the time. I think that's how the whole thing started. So people were excited. They bought the music in huge numbers. They bought the music, and people said, "This is really good music." And we were getting phone calls. They want to come and perform. She would perform here and there and there. And once the music got out, Keturah began getting a lot of shows, gigs, and she said, "I've never made such kind of money." She made a lot of money. We sold more than 1 million in 24 hours. That's how it started. But because we're always working together about the music, the more closer you get at Makamamba Kujeza, the music came first.
Okay. So, but along the way, you started developing love feelings towards her.
Yes, along the way it started, you learn to see Maganiza Jonchi, you start to study their character, and then you start to think, I think this is a person that I can settle down with. I mean, I'm with her up until now. I wasn't wrong about her.
And when I'm on Angaruti, you took advantage of her. Kuti, we went to phone and the manager wake, and this manage her music and everything. Kenago, as I was joking earlier, you made it difficult for her to say no. And one would be tempted to think,
well, I mean, one could say that, but saying that would be far-fetched or just kuganiza modabu. Look, Nsikana ndamukonda. I can go to her and say, what if I was not a promoter in any way? I could just go, I like you. But like I said before, that it was her who reached out to me about the music, and so I couldn't know in my it was that chat. But I believe now it allows me. I believe that even if I had gone to her without having to say any final of her music, she would still date me. And remember, that's why along the way, at some point, I said, okay, look, I'm backing off from your music. Go and do it. I don't manage it. I help her with promotions when she needs my help. But I said, I'm taking a step back.
Does she have a new manager, Panopo?
Not necessarily, I just been down with Amantandizila, like on her behalf, but I don't think she's got a management team, really.
So pano ndinu banja ruso pano. Mazemba pakati hapo, ufusani kumatelera ngati mulamba. Koma pano basi simukali motsi.
Tukali motsi.
Ndinu banja kapena chibwezi kapena ndi chanju chitika kuti.
Well, it depends on how you define things, but for me, I say remain the banja. Tukali motsi ndi mwana limozi. Banja is just what you decide it is. Culturally, traditionally, maina mpire mukapanga ukwati church ngamira church mukadalisi mukapira kandi kwa DC akapange, then you make it official. But for us, as it is, by our definitions, we're staying together. It's a marriage.
Mudakaonekera.
Kwa ketwa manidziwa, neso kwatu mziwa.
Yeah, usalizori ali nabwera koma kunena ntukuti ayi anthu akhwasule nkhuku amwe zakumozisa ukhosi kuti atadziwana apa mwe tamanyana inu kwanu angalole kungone kuti ayi basi ndikukhala amene
mambo yedu kuyikonza. We are planning all of that is happening. So muzimva popana zokuchitika zimenezo, but like I said, ni banja ndithu limene.
Nemwambira kutsogolo mwakambira kale
zamakono.
Mwakambira kale kutsogolo kera
zamakono. But I think it's because we've been staying together for the most part of since we began dating. Ketwa and I have always been together.
Okay.
Should go out, should come back, or go out. We've always been together just like that. So even this is just a continuation. Zanguja balimwana, and the public knows balimwana, but we've been together like this for quite some time.
Mwana uri mpete yapo, mwana uri mpete zikoti zakwanira. Apa bazipo ziwiri.
Nikazabwera hapa, imozi zachoka hapa, ina zabwera hapa.
Yeah, imesa mwati makonda mpete zakhale zitatu basi yocho.
Yeah,
zala sizakhala tangalala yocho.
Kino zakhala ngati wini ko.
Kukankhana. Junior zala mpete kukanganirana zala kuti ineso ndilowe nawo pamene.
Kuoneka sobwino yayi.
So panopo ndezi makhala bwanji for yone kuti yeyo ni munthu oti ndiwoyimba and she's still releasing music.
Yeah.
And obviously ali ndi following yake. Usalephera so tanthu tina roti timafuna kuti tiyesepo mwayi pamenepo. Iweso zako za social media izizi ndekuti so lakazi so pephere mbalimu ngokhala kachipwirikiti kena kake zimayenda bwanji?
Well, I mean, kodi mkazi kapena mamuna sokuti anthu amasiya kumufuna fuata libabanja ndi chibwenzi mezi machitika basi. Nkhani ndi uziletsa ndi kukhulupirirana. That's the key thing to any relationship and any marriage. Pemphero Mphande pano atakapanga kuti pagulu kuchigulu mholo anthu akaone onse mu stadium kazaza anthu ona kuti ali mkazi wanduyo akazina akaza afunabe mankhanje kodi uwo mkazi akafuna panga chani aketula nawo so amuna aona amuna na mabwerabe kuyesa mwayi. The point is what's going to happen. It is how it is. We can't change it. We just have to trust each other and believe in kuti zangayo kuma kupita akapita kaimbe kulibeko atena wakana. Amadira forere ngari muthu akunama la forere mazakwana mazotake aja ura upanga za ula Pemphero aja upanga zakuza kuti nthawi makwana basi madziwika. Ndithudi.
So pano muli ndi mwana pano?
Ndi mwana ndithu.
Pano ndi wankulu bwanji tikuyankhula pano?
She's turning 6 months on the 20th of March.
Anthu akuti siri kumuona mwanayo nkhope tifuna timuone. Tatiwonetsa nkoni tatembenuzane kachithunziko tione uku. Bwanji simukumuonetsa?
Well, the decision that we made, as a couple, Ketwa and I, that we thought would protect our child from social media, from the public, until at a certain time when we decided I think this is the right time, because social media can also be a place, in as much as good happens, a lot of bad things happen, and so we just want to keep our child, away from that public life that we have until at a certain time.
Mwina kalipo kena kamene mukubisa.
I did.
Mukakaona kamwanako mento mwana uyu tisamuonetse kugulu yayi.
Yeah.
Atazifusa mafusa mbiri.
Mumuona sale konkula inu mumuona.
Ine ndikhoza kumuona.
Ndikhoza kumuona.
ndiye ndikamuona ndikhoza za Malawi kuti ndakaona kakuoneka mote ndikuwera kwambiri komasitsira mara barazi kusamafusa mbiri unazokhala bwanji pamene paona pamene so mudzamuonetsa liri kudzakhala mwambo
mwina udzakhala mwambo
Simba style kuti now we present to you.
A time will come. A time will come when we will see, but I think this is the right time. Literally.
Koma kwa iwe si mwana wako oyamba paliso ka mwana kena kamene makaonetsa.
Yes, my daughter, her name is Witu. She just turned 7.
Okay.
She just turned 7 last month. I mean, that's my firstborn.
Okay.
Literally. I mean, my money so kuti I think time kamba kumonesa masuku dinali I was a public figure. I was just like another person. So so she was already out in the public eye. And I think her and I we like making videos together. She also likes public attention.
Kani ndimene kuyeza ndi Pemphero Mphande kuno ku Blantyre kuchigumula nyimbo number 3 ikhala nyimbo yanji?
Nyimbo number 3 imene ikhale nyimbo ya Nthondwa. Nkhuyanire. Cha? Nkhuyanire? Anema ndituno imene nyimbo Nthondwa imene.
Eruka kumene?
Ayi.
Ndekale?
Eruka pakanthawi.
Nkhuyanire?
Ndekuti cha. Ndene mizima ukonda. I think za kwawo kukalongako.
Nkhukutewa na amene pamudziwa ife.
Pamene pa YouTube khanga palibewo.
Nkhuyanire? Kukalonga amene kuti nkhuyanire. Munthu kumuza mkazi kuti nkhuyanire.
It means I love you.
Ife za nkhuyanire zo aita sankhanina yoti tikhoza kuipeza pa video yake.
So ndekuti ike waimba pompa ndandamera. He did a song called what matichani maimba ndandamera.
Koma Nthondwa imweyo.
Nthondwa imweyo. He did a song amati kufamba.
Yes.
Ndandamera.
Koma kuti maina kufamba nkhuyanire afika mama palibe zothawa so amati
mwana amene he speaks 16 languages.
16?
Yeah, he's a gifted young man.
Akumalaki konkuno malanguage amenewo?
Swahili, akukuena ngapo, and he speaks several languages.
Ukumpanga manager kapena ndi munthu ngoma mudziwa chake?
Manager.
Okay. Literally. Nthondwa mprogram ya Cruise 5. Tikambeza PhD yako. Imene inali komanso sili.
Wesa ndizijowa zakosi. Kaka wa Bible bwana.
Imene inali komanso sili because
prophet wa Bible.
Isanamalize kulera koma kuti musamalize mama. Kanalera masaka.
Interview telephone wajipombe kwa basi.
Doctor imene inali komanso sili.
Ndege.
Usanafike so kuna ata imani kai mwati ndani. What happened? Walk us through this because anthambira anadzidzimuka because anthambira amakutsatira and I believe kuti anthamira amakutsatira anasangalala kumva kuti yayi munthu uja anapita ku South Africa, University of South Africa yampatsa doctorate ya honorary hayayo man hanapa kuti ya Dr. Mphande this is kenako pasana 10 tunda kudzava kuti yayi ukanga tinyodzizo kenako chikalata chipwirikite fombi komo anthu kusaoneka so kuti munthu ali pati apa. What happened?
Well, I mean, this is an honorary doctorate that was, being conferred upon me by the University of South Africa. Tisainisa degree, mimi si degree ndo mtu ngakugena nchiri. Makaji jongo mtu wangu is called honorary. Jongo kule megeza. Mapanga jawo kuti kumlemege. Sudu ngabe ungakatenga nchiri kuna kwake yayi. There's a PhD mtu ngakalo one class ndo kuphunzira. Watenga degree yako, banga masters yako, PhD. Izi makazori basi mtu ngakule megeza. In fact, you're not supposed to be called a doctor in any. You can choose antena amasanka. But it's just honorary mtu akupanga zako kutika in engineering mwina nakapanga ngati kankwamba uja anakapanga mtu atambanga ona in engineering amene akadula kankwamba doesn't mean mtu unaphunzira. It's just an honorary recognition. Now there's a woman that approached me kumzo kuti look
wakuti woman amene
Tandy John a woman called Tandy John she said look Ineo I work with the University of South Africa, and we have seen the work that you are doing as Pemphero Mphande. You turn this and we think that this work has to be recognized by the University of South Africa. In the Tanzania, kubanga recognize kuna Malawi and Hena. I mean, Anna Chuda Limos in the letter in Chuda Ija. And I said, okay, fine, this has happened, Kubanga. I mean, if she thinks that this is what they are saying, then why not? So in Miss Diamond, Miss Diamond actually a year before last year. I don't know what means also, but that year in my brain it didn't click. So now I'm going to go we now so watani. But if you want, so this way we can do it. I said, okay, why not? Let's do it. Can I go? I didn't suspect there's anything here because I'd seen this happening. One was a is easy.
Muna alipira ndalama?
We didn't pay any money.
Amalipira ndalama zambiri.
Yeah, ndikuona nganenda mazopeka zanga zimene zoza job ni mukundona nemi basi.
Yeah, muna gulitsa kagali moto kupita kapena kuti ndipeze ndalama kuti ndilipire. So simuna alipira ndalama ili yonse.
Apart from there, I take somebody na pangao. The other money that we made and their gown to basi. This is even what even my normal graduation. I'm not very excited for graduating.
Okay. So kupita kumene kuja.
Tafika kumene kujaku tinakapangira graduation yathu at an affiliate university of UNISA for amati it's just close Pretoria nakapanga proper one and a lot of people were there. Mpaka namenja kuti nakakulwa mageta kuinisa kujaku anthu kumati ndira bwino bwino tikuinisa kunongo we are there ku tour the campus nati pasa ife tili kunongo zachitika. So only here later on now zinthu zonse sizinaende choncho. And in my statement was simple. Now, when I was still in South Africa when it came out, I reached out to UNISA. I even went there. I said, look, I'm looking forward to meeting and how so that I can help you investigating because I came here innocently. And I was still there when I put out my statement. They never, up until now, UNISA has never reached out to me. I don't know what's happening. I've seen Tandy doing interviews saying she sent me some clips of her meeting with the UNISA. But they're not reaching out to us, so we don't know what's happening. But that's what happened.
So, panopo tikuyankhula pano tivomereze kuti zimene zichazo palibe chimene chinachitika yayi iweyo sunalandire honorary PhD na iliyonse ayi yovomerezeka
amwene if it's not in ngati anthu angati anokana kani zikakame honorary doctorate. I cannot do that. I spent 5 years in college. I can go again, getting a master's, getting a PhD. There's no reason for me to be clinging to an honorary doctorate.
Iwe ase munthu oti ndiwe munthu umaoneka kuti ndi wozindikira wozitsata. Zinatheka bwanji kukupusitsa chonchicha. Iwe tizithuzi jatinatuluka tija. Iwe sunafile kuti koma zizioneka ngati zina zake zokayikitsa. You didn't feel that?
Yeah, inakanaposisidwa ngati.
Anakupusitsa iwe kufika hapo maka kulowetsa kukachipinda ka graduation imene ndi chani chimene chicha.
That was a proper hall.
Ka hall ka video kana luka kajani.
I'll show you proper videos.
Yeah, kajani kana luka mpaso.
Wina kana ngojambula kango kena kake ndikupanga put out.
Si ango izi machita kuoneka kuti munthu wojambula pa kamera wavala ka shati kopesa chisoni kwambiri. Pemphero Mphande, how can you fail to detect kuti something is off panopo? Well, it's
what I'm telling you. Look, this had happened before several times. Not just even when we are there.
You know, banga graduate, you grade hall degree ba College of Medicine. You know how a graduation ceremony looks like.
I know.
You were convinced that that was a real thing happening.
Okay. People organize graduations, particularly for certain people, like for my honorary, because there were people from several countries. From South Africa, it was a special graduation. It wasn't like a big hall. I mean, makam grade from Gudan. I got honorary as part of other graduates. It was a special occasion.
So what you're telling me is that throughout that process,
yes,
you never suspected until kutuluka.
If I had suspected anything, if I had at any point suspect, I mean, I would have pulled off. So I don't think in here but I'm telling you, you would have used that time for something more productive than but look, that thing created a lot of conversation. Raising awareness about what is happening. Even for UNISA now, they have to think about what happened. So I don't think whatever happened was in vain. It was a point of reflection for me and for many others that were also part of the same line.
This is bigger than it looks. Nafuna kuti timvetsetse. Fanya nina kuti iwe siwe munthu wamba yayi. Ndiwe munthu woti ndiwozindikira.
Yeah.
umawerenga umamva chizungu unapitako ku university uli ndi degree so siyo munthu amboti anthu angangokupusitsa wambawamba koma zinatheka kukufikira kumakutumizira makalata nyani mpaka nofika pogula air ticket kupita kumene kuja kukapanga mambo which means chinthu ichichi tisachiphweketse kuti basi zinachitika ngati nangu ukokera pena pake muchilomoni mutateni ayi so UNISA ija zimene nanena zija kwenikweni amati chimachitika ndi chani zimatheka bwanji kuti these guys should pull off something like this chifukwa ndero apusitsatu anthu oti ife timaopa kuti awaneni mashasha achina inuyo ngati apusitsa inu ena aferu ndero mpaka natu olatati ku America tidu mpaka natu
I mean, look, I say, let's be honest. Scams are just what they are. They are scams. People who scam people have they plan. They try to get into the mind of the one they want to scam. Anybody can be scammed. I mean, a scam. I've seen countries being scammed. It happens. People scam people. Pemphero Mphande will not be the first and the last person. It will happen again. Like I said, and like did I feel there was a there's a graduation you're going there. And even when we reached out to them, I saw Tandy was speaking with them because Tandy Naiso apparently maybe was being lied to by something. But this apparently it seems they are a part of UNISA. They're involved because why they have so much access to their system, to their spaces. So that's why I'm saying this was a well-crafted scam. Look, for me it's a lesson. I don't look back and go like, I look back and say, okay, fine, that was a lesson. We move on.
You said, per statement, if UNISA is denying this today, either they are a part of the scam or they too are being scammed. I personally would be happy to work with UNISA to get to the bottom of this. Our team will investigate and would love to meet with officials from UNISA to understand how this happened under their nose. How this has happened under their nose for years. Did UNISA get back to you?
They didn't get back to me.
Did they do that?
They didn't get back to me, which cements my point of saying that they are a part of it, because they could have reached out to me.
But UNISA is a credible academic institution. Especially if you offered
exactly.
You're willing to help and to work with them, to tell them ndamana ndimbira phone. Aba ndiwamene nafikira. Awa ndamana ndiandira. You've got videos of those people.
Yes.
Can you investigate these people?
Yes.
And UNISA is not ready to take you up on that.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying that look, I'm not a crook. I've never been a crook in my life. I went there innocently, and even when I was in the country right there, I was still in the country. I went to UNISA, tried to speak to them, but they just kept on passing me around like a ball. I put out my numbers publicly. Journalists from SABC, they reached out to me. Not gonna interviews, but if the journalists were reaching out to me, I've been saying, Pemphero wants us to work together on this issue. So if they are not willing to do that, because UNISA is a big institution, it's one of the biggest and oldest universities in Africa. Maybe somewhere in the system there's some cracks, and maybe they don't want to come out and say, maybe it will let out a can of worms that they're not willing to touch. But it's a big question mark on UNISA, not on Pemphero Mphande.
This has gotten me worried personally now, and I hope I'm allowed to air my personal worries. Anthu akhala kunena zimene zizi kudzudzula anthu ena amene amachita mwina ngati anthu andale kapena anthu akuluakulu kuti anthu amene amafuna kumadzikundikira maulemu kumakatenga ma degree kumadzitcha ma doctor it's a common jibe that we throw at these people. Akuluakulu school ndiyovuta. If these people want to earn that title, let them go to school.
Yes.
They should earn that title. Yes. Now tikunena anthu amene wawa as them and ife tili kunoko.
Yes.
Now you find anthu ngati inuyo
yes.
achinyamata woti you are still in your prime.
Yes.
Mukuoneka soti mukuthamangiraso zomwezo ma honorary PhD omweyo.
I think there's a big difference between me and a manager.
What's the difference?
The difference is this. Me, I've told you. A person came to me. And this person is not like a Tandy John. This person has been on interviews. He's on record doing an interview. Photo was also doing this can happen. We recognize the work that you're doing. This work has got to be recognized. And I'm gula they want to use those things.
You were also gulaso.
But this woman that he took me there is saying it. She's there. you akakulozana kuti wakuti I'm telling you kuti this woman right now you can go and you can interview Tand Johnny. She goes by Dr. Tand Johnny. You can go and interview her. She'll tell you what happened. Pemphero Mphande.
Na yeso doctor ndakanalenga so kuyunisa komwe koso.
Guy Miss Ninganene. Kama unakakuza Pemphero Mphande didn't pay anything, she'll tell you that. Pemphero Mphande didn't approach me and say ndifuna mundipange recognize, ndikupasa ngena yake, she'll tell you that she can confirm that.
So these people will strike again. If they come to me and say, Mr. Jakaza, taonera ma program wanu ndipo taona kuti mukupanga zotambandika. Kufuna tikupatse what would be your advice? Kuti nendi sadapezeka kuti ndakugula tikiti kupita ku South Africa.
The question is, would you accept an honorary doctorate? Do you believe
ndidakhala kuti ndifuna ndivomere komano ndifuna ndivomere ya chilungamo osati iyi. What would be your advice? Ndidzatani?
Well, my advice is, look, someone like you would become a target of a scam, isn't it? Because one, you're a competent journalist, so done a lot of work. Your CV speaks for itself loudly. You become an easy target where people can approach you. And but I think the good thing is to do what we did not do. Because we assumed, then this is legit. I think it's best to, even if you can go to the exact institution yawo kan website yawo katenga the proper contacts and pull out and say kodi zikukhala bwanja baba other just ngokuti awawa anatiudza unataka kupanga zakudza kuti tinaona pa zithunzi zanalinda ndekuti ndizoona. I think you may want to take a different path. This is a free advice to win aliyense amene angafune ku anthena akasamuza kuti mukulanda una doctorate kandi ineso mtsogolomu ena akazanipanga project ine sikundi zakana if I believe in my work, because my work cannot be discredited because of the fact that that on a doctorate was discredited. So if somebody comes to me and says, Pemphero, we think you deserve this, and I think I deserve it, I would go, but obviously I would do it differently than last time.
Amen, Pemphero Mphande. Tichite nyimbo number 4. Nkulu ya ndiza mbiri zoti tikambirane naye ndikamaona nthawi apa ndiona kuti mwina sitigwira komabe tachita nyimbo number 4 ikhale nyimbo yanji.
Nyimbo number 4 imene ikhale yakazanga.
Madabo anu kuti kodi sipavuta ayi.
Angambe kuti kuira na.
Inu zaona kubaza kanyimbo za anthu ena onse inonse tisakira nyimbo. Ikhale nyimbo yanji anaimba nyimbo zambiri.
I love my favorite song of her currently is Kwanu sana jamlebe video. Ndi ndisankha Magedere tukampa imene.
Yes.
Imene video yake ilipo nditu.
Magedere kuimba kwa Ketura mprogramu ya lero ya Cruise 5 kukonda kwa Pemphero Mphande. Mwamuna wake wa maya amene mumuone mu video imene. Ndiyaza ndi Pemphero Mphande mprogramu ya Cruise 5 amene amachita zambiri koma zina sizimaoneka bwinobwino kuti kodi mkuluyo akulowera pati ali pati ngati za ndale izizi. Panopo angoti ziwa angomyata ngati kuti siwe munthu wa ndale koma ndiwe munthu wa ndale fa unapangako ndale nthawi inayi actually umayimira mpando wa MP ku Blantyre City South.
Literally Blantyre City South.
Pa ticket ya umodzi pate ya Dr. Chisi.
Yes.
What was that about? Ndiyo munthu wa ndale ndiyo tize umafuna pakati zenye kapena unangone ngoti apa ndi anthu ali sakundidziwa. Let me ride on the wave ndikapezeka kuti ndikapezeka parliament mosadzika bwino bwino.
Yeah, nabango ndale as you said. I believe I listened to Ndale because Ndale is a system that runs whatever we're doing. And if you know what is doing about TV, my TV regulations, I mean, Ndale apanga set mwamba. So all of us are in some ways were politicians. One could mean active politicians. In a Chipanja almost bad. Nachi ambali Moses that John GC. If you ask him, he'll tell you, man, I went to school because he was my professor at the University of my College of Medicine. Remember, Tena Nalipa Jani, Nalipa Kapak. Ndio yisi ya madusa hiyo ndio tunaziwa na kwamba ifacha kabungo kama nikapanga run school huko na kamba kwa College of Medicine as Counseling and Training Society you are anali the patron so akuredusa bene baja and then ananditana Pemphero that's it talks like that nako anamba kunduza talking about the idea of mods in 2013 so much so that that's how it was me now getting an interest into politics. But even before that, I had already had an interest. Well, I remember Malilo kwa Bingu in 2012 Kundara Ucholo. I had met Adobere Muluzi. I don't know if you remember. I met Adobere Muluzi because he had this thing buzzing with the agenda for change, and I was attracted to that. So I met Adobere Muluzi. We swapped numbers. I used to talk to Adobere back then. I was just a student. I was supposed to establish a UDF wing there, but we lost touch eventually. But I did vote for him in 2014 because I loved his agenda for change. But that was then. So fast forward, almost Monday 2019, Spanishija, Ajisi, now Awimi Nakajuid in 2019. I said nothing else when I got to give me an MP. I told you a story kuyamba nakamba nkhani je imene yanachika pita kumanase.
Yes, when you saw that impoverished community.
Yes, my thinking was such situations can only change by better legislation, better policies, and you can only push for these policies. You have got influence in the parliament. You can say, why don't we do it this way? You can actually have powers to hold certain people accountable, other than just being a nobody. That's the idea that I had. Now, in a woman's body, Nali director of youth, naka wina convention wete napanga 2018, naka pengira ku blanta yakonkuno, anti-mental influence ndajisi mapanga makampeni aja. Of course, I lost the elections. But doing that campaign for me was a big lesson. I learned so much from that. That taught me one thing. If you want to do politics like the way I was doing it, in this country, in this generation, you are not going to make it. Because many Gujagu, people do not vote for ideas. Me, I was going there with ideas. I had a manifesto. Manifesto almost better than anybody. The whole manifesto almost better than 2019. I hired Andrew. We did interviews across the country to write that manifesto. Manifesto almost bad was one of the best manifestos because we did research where the team of people that were writing, compile the entire of that. Even my manifesto at my own level was ideas. I went there and I was taking for ideas, but no one was buying the ideas. Mwabase t-shirt, mwabase nsalu, mwabase zakuja, mwabase ndalama, handouts.
Really?
The one with, yes, that's what I saw. The one with the most money who can give people is the one that wins. Why? Because people believe in mukawina, majoka hapo. Ndiye uzana ngasimukubeneka.
Oh.
So I saw that. So I said, my campaign is a mindset change campaign. It may not be possible in 2019.
And then we don't have hope as a country because that's what's going to change this country, if at all. Ndima ideas yo also this ogawa is samajeni. Koma mene kunene we experience ya we know nitsa kuti kupita ndi mfundo sungaphuleko kanthu pandale za kumala.
I'll tell you there's so much change. Look at the country of Malawi right now, the way it is. Right now, Malawi has got an inflation of almost 35%. 2019, the inflation was what? It was 9%. Right? Right now, kwacha is 1,700 against the dollar. 2019, it was at 700. The economy is becoming. People are seeing these things. Things have gone up, and food inflation on its own is 44%. Malawi has got a debt of almost 13 trillion. 13 trillion kwacha, which is almost over 80% of budget GDP. So it means this country, the whole country can go away. We can go bankrupt at any point. So it means every year we are paying more than $1 trillion. I've seen in the current budget, I think we're paying about $1.4 trillion. 1.4 trillion kwacha. You understand that? So the economy of this country is in a bad state, and how one as many is. But where is the political will? There's a strong political disinclination to change things, which has been there since it's been happening. Now, I'll tell you the biggest problem that we've had. Back to the issue of campaigning with Bagambai. And they rely on one thing. The masses are not aware and they're uneducated. They count on that. They also count on tribalism. No matter what, but things are changing by and by. There's a generation of people like me that in Kwatu by birth, Kwatu go by tribe, but I've not lived Kumuzwatini. I don't understand what happens there. I've grown up in Blantyre. I was born here. So I consider myself more of a Blantyre than Wakunzimba. And most of the people at my age are thinking like that. Our generation is no longer asking we're changing. Our things are changing.
Okay.
Also, by and by, most people are getting educated. How many capital college in 2010, the whole of UNIMA in Katenga 2000. By now, in Makamba fees, Polytechnic alone, now it's taking out more than 7,000. And they're getting educated. There are many colleges. And because of social media, people are exposed, they're seeing these videos. Meaning a time will come when politicians can no longer count on tribalism, because there'll be someone like me who doesn't care if your job is from Baraga or from Mporo. There'll be someone like me who knows and sees and wants to hear your ideas than just Kumvako. I'm telling you, the last election that they have, and the likes of Vajinam Talika, to lie to people, is this 2025 election. After this election, there's a revolution coming in 2030. It is not a bloody revolution, Joab. It is a social revolution. Most of the young people, I my secondary schools now, they're going to vote. And they will not vote based on tribe. They're not going to vote based on lies. They want you to have ideas. They want to see change. And when that time comes, young people like us will rise up, will come together, and will push an agenda that is different than you've seen before. So, to answer your question, there's hope for this country. And that hope is coming in because right now, but the time is coming. And what next? I'm not standing the next elections. I'm not standing the next elections. Like I said, now 2019 it's a process. We have begun a process of changing people's mindsets. Over the next few years, we're going to go into a form of civic education for the people. Not just me. We're going to team up with several young people. Even I mean, they're willing to change. Because what I've seen with the old politicians, they're not willing to change. They want to think the very same way. That's why we want to be the same kind of politics. You would expect change, but the same thing happening. I'll give you an example. Nikapanga match. I remember napanga match alongside Nigeria majao. You ask Moses Kunku tell you if anapanga utie gas. Kunku ya kugwa honorable Kunku Kajonch. Kunku is a friend of mine. Tukupanga match for change in 2019. Because we wanted change. Now, you have moved past that and you're hoping good into this center. Things are going to be different. And Mboma, they're doing the very same thing that were happening where and Kupanga match for change, IMCP, Katwasa Alliance, Enawa, Adibiya Jamaunjikana, we're seeing the very same things happening now. Why? Because people are not willing to change the ways of thinking. If they could just change, people would see, so it tells you that it is still the just Kazasinda. So if fail, let us let them keep on tapping into that generation. It must pass. And I'm telling you, it is ending in 2025. Beyond that, it is up to us young people who are thinking different to change things.
What are your political ambitions beyond 2025? Do you want to contest again?
I would not say that now, but after 2025, I'll make a decision. After 2025, but now I can tell you I'm not standing for any position, whether it's councillor, MP. I can't run for president because Zaga is not 135. Apparently that's what it says, no constraint. But after 2025, I'll make a decision.
Muntu andale akarero ndekuti adzayimira. Anthu andale onse kuyambira ku poto mpaka nakuje akangona kuti panopo sindikuwuzani maganizo anga ngati ndiyimire kapena sindidzayimira. Ndekuti adzayimira amene. Akanakhala kuti sadzayimira adakangonena kuti sindidzayimira. Ndeuri mudzayimira koma mwina simulo wokonzeka kunena kuti mudzayimira koma mudzayimira.
When you see Joab, ineyo zimangondikhuza. If I see maybe there's somebody who is more worthy, I'll go back and support that person. But I get touched a lot. I'm telling you. In 2008, 2009, thereabout, Malawi, second fastest growing economy, second to Qatar. What happened to that? There's a country now called Bhutan. Bhutan is a country in Southeast Asia. It's in the Himalayas between China and India, a very small country. Now, in 1971, the United Nations came up with a ranking of least developed countries. Currently, there are 45 of them. Malawi is amongst those, obviously. Yeah. So Botswana became the first country in 1994 to move out of that list. Botswana is a landlocked country like Malawi, with an even small population. They moved out of that list developed country. Malawi is still there. Bhutan, less than 1 million, and around 700,000. In 2023 or December, it became the last country to move out of the list developed countries. And this country mostly relies on agriculture like us, tourism. Why is Malawi not moving forward? Why did we fall apart from what was happening in 2009? These things really cool. Why am I saying this? It tells us now there's a possibility that Malawi can become better. We've seen it happening. Malawi was there where it headed in that path, and now all of that has vanished. Malawi, then we are a big problem. So we must start thinking because there are two things here. Sometimes you can say, it is impossible, but we've seen the possibilities. Other countries like us are doing it. Landlocked countries just like Malawi, and we saw it happening that time when we come by. So when you see there's a possibility, you always ask yourself, why are we not making that possibility possible. It pains me a lot. That's why I say I can't say because it may be me or it may be somebody else who has got those ideas. I've never been power hungry. I just want things to change. I can support anybody who has got better ideas.
Aruma supported Donald Trump. Zona?
Oh yeah.
Donald Trump?
Oh yeah, I'm a big Donald Trump fan.
Ubalaliga kwambiri nkulu amene kuzochitika zake. Gawenga kena ngora amankhula chizungu ndi anawo. Komadha wa izochitika zake kuti munthu amaganiza bwanji. Anagawanitsa anthu ku America kuja anthu kangana kwambiri. For president. Zolankhula zake amangophwasula basi. Iwe nkoma support amene?
Yeah.
Chifukwa chani?
Akula amene jamani sangasa kwambiri. One is he speaks as it is. You know, anambira ndale mukafusa funso amakota kota. Trump doesn't do it. Trump is there. Amangoza chino ngambulano we think ABCD. Also Trump, you know, when Trump was in power, he cut aid for Africa. He said, no, these African countries, why are we giving them so much money? He cut all of that. For me, I said, this is what we want for countries like America. What are they telling us? You know, now say, start working hard. But right now, let's say in the next elections, the next president or a new president, what would be their first move? I'm going to go to America. America got $2 billion. That has become our society. Trump, go on. It was cut. And African governments were being suffocated, but they were being pushed to find other ways of making money. We've got resources here, natural resources across Africa. The DRC of Congo is the wealthiest country. Has got my phone we use right now. America has become English because of the product Tesla, Apple, even vehicles, batteries. They're going electric, EV batteries, lithium from cobalt. Now there's a crisis in DRC Congo because everyone wants to mine their minerals. While Africa is remaining poor. So Trump becomes a leader that is pushing Africa towards maybe it's indirect, but he's pushing to start thinking differently. To say no, you can explore your to the best of your ability. But also, Trump became the first president in over 70 years of America not to start a single war when he was in power. Every American president starts some war. He didn't start a single war, and the world was more stable economically when Trump was. But look now. There's so many wars. There's a war in Gaza. There was a war in Ukraine, and you say that man. So I think it's a model of leadership that maybe at some point African leaders could adopt.
Timalize majeza atu. Just a few issues zimene anthu ena somwe nakuzofuna kudziwa kumva kuchokera kwa iwe. Poyamba ndi nkhani izi mukupanga masiku ano mukuti kumalumikizanitsa anthu kuti apeze
wachikondi
zibwenzi kapena wachikondi mpaka nochitopanga ka site amene mufuna mabanja bwerani kuno mudzidzitsatsa pamenepa ndezi chani zimene.
I mean, it's a market that is very big out there. How I think of it is going to look. Internet enables about mods. Kale mundu wakati ndiwe wakunzimba kakunzimba. Most likely with marry a person wakunzimba unless there's somebody who has come to Nzimba. But nowadays on the internet, you can even marry mtoka America uluku Malawi just by going on the internet or Facebook and I've seen this happening before. The world has come closer. Social media, these social apps are based on most. Content go they are single. You longer your soulmate is in Blantyre. Won't pay a go to a dating site. What can pay a minute?
You can't get merchandising love. We're turning it into a business. Muntu chikondi kuchita kwadzitsatsa hayi neyo ndine nyamata ndimamera ndevuranga ndimadulira chonchi ndi zaka makuti ndi mwana mmodzi ndikufuna sokazi ndizochotsa ulemu ndizonyazitsa
ino chikondi ndalama ndikale olokwata anthu amapeka mamiliyoni amene ukapanga ukwati wenu ucha mamiliyoni anthu ukapanga ukwati love is
asiyeni anthu azikumana amene amakumana azikumana kuzangala kaya ndi kuchalichi kaya ndi kubashi kaya ndi kuchani mmabhala umo koma mpaka nochotayi basi kudzitsatsa pamene pacha.
Koda say ndikufuze fuzo what is meeting muntu yemwe amene makumana kuchalichi ndiyemwe amakhale ali suru wapo online amakhala kuti ambuya anampanga kuti sapezeka in the real world. They're the same people that you meet in church kubhala kumu amapezeka amene only that kuti anthu aja.
The problem is kuti apa anthu mwachita kupita ncholinga choti apa ndenu ufuna ndikapeze munthu oti ndimange naye banja.
Ino sinamve kuti anthu apatsikana kamangosamba kuti kumakasaka mabanja amangonyamuka basi.
So this is okay with you? This is okay with you?
It's a normal thing. Look, what I'm telling you is, look, the same people that you can meet ku church kandi kubhala kandi kutiko nanamya account ali online pa Facebook mwina anthu napapa akuruna pa Facebook onova anthu mya kuruna apa yonchira anima account nda omweyo amene akusakasaka mabanja
ndi anthu amabwera ndithu pamene pachapo
mabwera ndithu
Malawi.
It's working. As I'm telling you, ndima kwati atatu this year one have made through me. Akuchitika this year.
Amakulipirani ndiye kuti kurapeze banja
connection fee. Zonde kujia
ndiye chani
connection fee nanga.
Connection fee.
Kuti mwana madziwa tukuma magrasi wa.
Connection fee.
Zama zake zomwezo.
Kuti chani kweni muntu
nanga senda gura chiro yolumikiza ngamba.
Iyo osango auzantu kuti uzingowapanga antu muntu wathodwa kala kusowa nthiti. Muzimulipiriza so afe pawiri.
Ilenkajira kuti.
Akakanire so kumene kuchaza abweresa ili vineso.
Ilenkajira kuti.
Mora malipira ndithu anthu zimene.
They pay a fee. It's a fee that
Amalawi olankhula chiyawo amalemba pamene pacha.
Mphande.
Oyankhula chichewa pa chitumbuka.
Iya. Ndama kiti timati chongola zanja. Ino mwana ngone. Mochita bwino.
Kujera maweje.
Yananga.
Ena amona ngati ndizopitisa patsogolo mchitidwe wolowerera wauhule wachiwerewere. Ena ngosakapata ndingopita kuti ndikaone kuti mathinka akakuoneka bo basi haya connection fee ndikwachi kuti haya pa basi maunupikizaniza basi ena amabwera mecha kudzanena rosweka mtima kuti munthu uja munandilumikizana iye uja amene ujayo si munthu wachilungamo yayi
dziko lili kusintha la Jowabu ndikuze ndikaleka mazoto kaleka anthu akaona gamala mathaku lapa chile akati akuba kuthawa kulapa chile amati upapa magazi kulabwa Facebook anankata zachikunja izo Facebook anamayikana panopa almost everybody over a million people in Malawi are now on Facebook. Things are changing. And when I get my car back, as many things are who did material. But look, in the campaign connect muntu. I'm do campus by my banda kuchitika hapa. Kodu hule usimachitika mabara mwana hakupita mosa kumana ndini yo. Anama kumana bawoka kumana kandi kuchalichi kandi minibus. Ama kasona ntima kwa kumana mbana ina mpaka na kufuna kuzipa. The same thing and happening and akumana babeji bang. It's just like any relationship out there. The only point is that look, nowadays life is changing and where it is going. And that's kind of busy. When I said, "Papa, I'm not car free time." So Golo will be working very busy. No time for you going go social media.
So iweyo sizima kwawo koma kuti mwina walumikizanitsa anthu ena ake mpaka nawezo kuti chako akayambana kamwina wina uchidwa chipongwe iweyo kumafira ka guilt kuti koma anthu awa kuti akumane ndifo cha ineyo.
Yes.
Unapanga connect.
Anthu ajakantha kumana munjira ina kopanda ineyo. Mulungu akakonza anthu akumana.
Papa pano ndiweyo tsopano. Ndiyoti wina ake has to take responsibility. And apapa ndiweyo. Kulowa kumpatsa kanambala kuti ase uyu adakufuna munthu ngati iweyo. Kukapangidwa chipongwe kumene kuja. Munthu uzokubwera kudzakuza kuti
zimene mukambazo zili ngati kunena kuti anthu akumana ntchali chine mbusa zita anthu anakumana ntchali chimwanga munda akakantha ndene ndikufira bad. Just a point of meeting.
Koma ndoli ndina nkhoso mabanja ambiri nanga sizi kati sizuenda Pemphero munthu uja zimabwera zimenezo
ndipo msanene
kuti inu inatu my duty was to connect you people.
There was a certain man anapeza kuna kuti iye uja ndapanga connect nkazi wina iye uja chibwenzira kali ndi wina uja ndikubasa kwa ine anakapanga fake account on Facebook atamene kuzikutheka kwa Mphande ndikundinamiza yene kuti ndi munthu wina ine ndikumpanga connect nkazi winaso kena kwakaza nguzati kodi iwe
Zubanga konekita ntangani.
Kanga zukaba kanga munthu chatu to safe to aba ndiwa kuti anasikana kanga marani amaziwa naso wanthu nanga namuza kuli inuyo apata kuli ndi kuponyani pagulu pambalamba anthu akudziwa kuti uhule inu chonje munthu wankulu anazagwada amwene chonde
ndiye abusa achaonera kuti anthu anakumenera wepo mwepa kunena kuti isiziva kukhudza amnesa kukana kha kwina kukanangozisiya kuti
uyu nangasi ananamiza ine kuti anakanga kuti ndampanga ndugu.
That's why now you come in iweyo ngati ujeti.
Yeah, this one was trying to ruin my reputation. It's different when akukonda angoyambana zona angoyambana. Kuti zinachitika bena anthu ambazo kuti Jowabu ninkazo anakumafaja ine angokangana mwina Jowabu sana kende bino bena bake ninkazo na bwanji. I understand. Kumano if Jowabu is coming to me and say Pemphero nkazo ndamukuona ndenda kupasa kena kwa namiza ubula nchigoba. Zora ine si Jowabu ndi munthu wina ndikunaso nkazo ndenda kupasa akaza awiri kena akaza kudziwana. Asa Pemphero Mphande amabanga zimenezi. Kena my reputation is being ruined. So you have to avoid such cases.
Nanga zija anthu amanena kuti hide my ID. Ndizoona adi zimene zija amalemba anthu nkhani yake todabwitsa kwambiri.
All of those are true stories. True stories.
Zina zimaveka ngati zopeka. Zimaveka kuti izizi mwina awawana so zolemba Pempherowa ndi angopanga create kankhani kenaka kuti lero anthu akuyembekezera kuti I am Pemphero, I have to post something. I mean, hide my ID. Neyo, zinandichitikira izi anthu ma comment pamene pacha kono kankhani akawasinjirira Pemphero.
But you see what happens? My page is arguably gets the most engagement. Nikapanga post nkhani yanga, it doesn't get usually less than 4,000 likes, 4,000 comments. I'll tell you, there are many pages that do the very same things. I saw there was a page in Zambia doing the same thing. I need more followers than me, but I can post, they get 800 likes, less. I'll tell you why. The trick is simple. Ineyo antu akandembera nkhani 100. Nimaziona nkhani, okay. And I read really fast. I only pick one story or two so that are very unique and exceptional. Kuja kuna nkhani zoti zikachitika pena mkapanga posto pa Zodiak paja. Anamana imenzi kuchitikadi. Anamadaba. I pick those stories because they come to me. I don't pick any story. Ngora Pemphero mamuna wanga tinakora nje nini wangosintha basi but that's a basic story. Everyone reads that story. I'll pick a story that says something different. So a story that says ni mamuna wanga tinakora 2019 ndi kumusiku khangati mwana kwamba kukulira nkhani zoti zimene zibanje. So I'll pick out because that's a unique story and I say imenzi kuchitikadi. So because I pick unique stories and I post them and they think imenzi kuchitikadi, but the truth is there are stories that are happening out there ukazimva, they will blow your mind. May I go for those stories?
So antu haja kamati hide my ID komewewe makoro wadziwa nditu.
I don't post unless mtu mudziwe. Kuchita pamawa. Kuti maybe that story has caused some legal issues. I have to be able to track around to know how to.
Nama akamarongosola amati ati hide my ID komama zoti abatu awande akudzulula oka. I'm a man who works at a prominent media house. I host a program called Cruise 5. I do this every Sunday. Please hide my ID.
Yeah, mwazichulakani najua butini.
Inu mukungo ziponyaso zimene zichaso.
I'm very careful how I do that. There was a case where ineyo napanga miss. Mpaka nantu ankafuna kundimangisa ndito. There was a case where somebody natural certain people male nage kumapanga ndikere I didn't know because I don't live in that area. Antu ako area jara ona kana mata uri akamba ndaya kuti. I had no idea. So nowadays mtakaika matilo sina makhala very careful kumfusa.
Okay.
Because I was almost arrested for that. Luckily enough, now that yeah, my goal is not to hate anybody else. I've been doing this for this long. I've not done this before. I literally have got no idea. So I think we came to an understanding. So you need to be careful how you put out because you could easily put yourself in trouble.
Za mystical Sundays zija. Ndizijani zimene zija. Tumakamba za ufiti. Ine. Hayi wena kana ndipangira mankhwala. Pano zimatele those things ndizona ati zimene zichazo.
Anthu kuno Africa we believe in witchcraft. Nigeria movie industry became very popular because of movies that African magic back in the days. I don't know if it's still African magic. It was everywhere because people want to see. We believe in those things. So it excites people. I'll tell you, Kalegale, if you go back to even 100 years ago, 20 years ago, and mapana for malaria. Mwana yonera gogo wake kena kwana ngoti mutu basi wadwala kusanza za yero za green mtu basi mwana chomwalia gogo kamuloza. Amenya hamala. Nowadays science says no, that is malaria. You can go in malaria now nako. Bajamati ni wakulaba fsini malaria tima ona malaria na pema isolate. So nowadays mtakadwa mati isa gogo wake awana malaria. The world is changing in terms of our cultural beliefs. But still more, there's a bigger population that still thinks that these things are real. So the stories that people find exciting. African folktales. We must tell our stories. These are stories that we believe in. We grew up listening to. Folktales. These are African folktales. So part of what I try to do on my page is to unearth these stories that speak for our culture. It brings people together. They feel like they're part of a community. We must not let them die because of a change in our cultural perceptions. And we are seeing this a lot nowadays. Even in music, they are shunning to project, culture art. Even how they dress in the music, even what they're singing about, the genres of music. So there has to be a way that we keep our cultural identity. Our friends who are getting richer and richer, there's one thing that they're very good at. They maintain their cultures up until now. If we as Africans, as Malawians, we're letting that culture go. So even through telling such stories, we keep a part of us that is going to be good in the long run, even economically. And you are telling your stories and they remember. I was talking about the Umuntu philosophy. It's an old African philosophy of saying your neighbor's problems are your problems. If you let go of that culture, Africa collapses. Because Anzatu, they don't call it Umuntu, but there's that practice out there. Cancer, they come together. They don't shine away or shame that support. Africa must be the very same way. So we can even maintain these things through telling stories.
Mwambo wa Pemphero ndiketura uliliti.
Muzamva. tikazakonza
anthu akweta mbuzi tu ukafuna adzaphe tsiku la ukwati wanu kuti
muzamva tsiku likazakonza date muzamva kuti zili kumene kuti moti inu makhala MC inu muzafuna muzapanga MC mulula muzakhala MC ndifusete pano pa anthu akumva mulula muzakhala MC
kuti nthawi ija ankanena kuti Malawians listen carefully kitu Pemphero and I we are dating what was happening chira chilika chani
izambuyo zimene changoti tingona kuti anthu
una muswa atima anawaga the shortest live video ever
so alokondwa pano ali happy anabereka mwana
kodi data kodi atakapena anthu anali willing kuti amuvungire data kuti amalizitse sanabwereso
I think it's just a phase of a relationship. And you go through issues. It's just unfortunate that some issues and banga publicize. But every relationship goes through issues. It was a moment when we had our own issues, but we resolved them. I think the most important thing is not failure is not falling, but failure to get up after falling. That was a stumble in our relationship, but we got out of that, and now here we are.
I've got a set of questions which I would like to ask you.
Please.
To which you can only answer yes or no.
Okay.
But first, I want you to tell me your full name. What's your full name?
Pemphero Mphande.
Do you have any tattoos?
No.
Do you have any piercings?
No.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Have you ever shot a gun?
Yes.
Have you cried over someone?
No.
Have you fallen in love before?
Yes.
Have you killed a chicken before?
Yes.
Have you gotten into a fight before?
Yes.
Have you ever gotten any surgeries?
No.
Have you ever been hospitalized?
No.
Have you donated blood?
Yes.
Do you know your blood group?
Yes.
Did you get the COVID-19 vaccine?
No.
Have you ever smoked weed?
Yes.
Do you smoke weed?
No.
Would you smoke weed?
No.
Have you ever drunk alcohol?
Yes.
Do you drink alcohol?
Yes.
Have you broken someone's heart?
Yes.
Have you had a crush on someone?
Yes.
Do you want to be president of Malawi?
Yes.
Tilekele pamenepo kucheza ndi Pemphero Wamwale? Wamwale?
Yes.
Wamwale?
Yes.
Mphande. Tatho zambiri facho tilongosolera zambiri zokhudza ndi moyo wako. Ndinakakonda ndikanangofunsa funso lomaliza kuti utiuze za chipembedzo kuti umakhulupirira chani. Fo pana nthawi nake imene umanena kuti sukhulupirira zoti kumwamba kuli Mulungu. Amati atheist pa chizungu. Kenako tinadzangomva kuti hiya Pemphero akuti amulosera kuti afa. Unaso kuti zeka kwambiri pakana kusiya kumwamowa. Kenako yayi. Malandira Yesu kali mbuye ndi mpulumutsi. Koma kufa ndi woopsa munthu uja mwana ni wasintha. Pano ukuthamanga ndiza great controversy ukapita pa chipako. Yeah, the great controversy which is associated with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So anthu mwana boti kodi Pemphero kweni ali patipati. Umapemphera?
Umapemphera.
Umakhulupirira kuti kumwamba kuli Mulungu.
I believe in God.
Umapita ku church?
Umapita ku church.
Church chanji?
New Apostolic Church.
So pano is that great controversies.
It's a book that I love. It's a book that I'm reading and it's changing how I'm looking at things. Book it's for me it's I would recommend it. Okay, it's a book that can change their lives. It talks about the battle between the dark and light, the devil and God. It's an inspiring thing. It's another way to look at our faith of Christianity, as taught by Ellen G. White.
So umalitenga ngati buku chabe osati ngati kuti buku la chipembedzo china chake. Ayi.
I don't think and book as I don't think even at SDA they should own it. They should own it. They should look at it as a book that talks about God, a book that is calling people closer to God, not a book that is saying SDA. Of course, Ellen G. White analyzed SDA and that naturally they would associate with SDA, and that's okay. But that book, it's a powerful book.
Nyimbo
yomaliza. Ikhale ya Agides Chamanda.
Yes.
Nimakonda nyimbo za Malawi.
Yes.
Nyimbo za Chilokolo. Chifukwa zenmakamba poyamba. We must skip. We must maintain our culture in some ways. Things are going to change over time, by and by. But the roots have got to be kept. It's very important. So nyimbo ya Agides Chamanda nimakonda nthawi zina. Nthawi zina pali video yake. Nthawi zina ni ndi marota. Uli mwini video ndi pa nyimbo za Agides Chamanda.
Koma anangoyipanga ngati mashup anayipanga ndi Patience na Madingo icha.
Yes.
Anangoyimenyako pena pake.
Yes.
ndiye mwina tingomenya pamene popo
tingomenya
kama shapuko koma tisake pamene amakamba za nthawi zina kumaliza kucheza kwathu ndi Pemphero Mphande mpulogalamu yathu ya lero ya Cruise 5 kuimba kwa Gides Chalamanda nthawi zina. Ndathokoza mbiri fa cha nthawi.
Thank you very much.